Hey, Rod. I have anywhere to set my coffee cup. Just have to sip away out of here.
Okay. So,
Don't set an alarm.
no. How do I do it without? You won't hear that, will I?
No. No, it won't.
Okay. It's 2 minutes.
I just set it for 8,
Oh,
because that's how long we can go. You don't want to have to be resetting it while we're on camera, right?
okay. So, you're gonna do the intro and.
Yeah, so I'll roll the intro and then I'll throw it to you
Okay.
for news.
Okay.
And then we'll go to Brian for some sports.
Okay.
I'll do an outdoor spoof, and then we'll talk about Wisconsin sports. I guess, huh?
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Sounds great. Okay, here we go.
Action. Right? All right, good morning, folks. Friday morning fodder week 2. We're back here at the Lakeland Times office. I am your host, Doug Etten. To my right, news editor Ray Rivard. To my left, sports editor Brian Rose. We're going to touch on some topics here this morning about kind of what's coming up here in the Lakeland Times in today's issue, of course, and then also do a little sports talk when we're done. So, Ray, why don't you tell us what's happening in the news department this week?
The news, and of course, the news never ends.
The news never ends.
This week we've got our top story is about the burning ordinance, the proposed burning ordinance in the town of Woodruff. They had a public hearing Tuesday night. People talked it over. The general consensus was, well, you have to read about it in the Lakeland Times. But the bottom line is the town didn't take any action. The board is going to vote on it next week. So that's our top story. We also have a story about the Lakeland Union High School annual meeting and budget hearing, which was held last week. The good news coming out of that is that the tax levy is going to be down $1 million from last year for a variety of reasons. First being that the governor's new budget proposed law limits schools to the amount of money that they can actually levy from the amount of revenue that they can take in each year. And of course, Lakeland has lost a lot of students, which also plays into the formula. So that's good news for the taxpayer. The last story is a story by Richard Moore. It's a report about Senator Frank Lassay, who is asking the governor to stop implementing the new federal health care law because of the cost to the state, number one, and number two, because the law is in litigation at this point, and so its future is uncertain. That's our front page stories. There's a whole bunch more inside, of course, that you will read when you pick up the paper. And with that, I'll pass it over to sports and Brian.
Okay, well, the football team travels to Mosinee tonight to play the undefeated and conference-leading Indians. Lakeland coming off a 7-6 loss in Rhinelander, kind of a tough game, 11 turnovers between the two teams. But you look at this Mosinee game. Mosinee last week beat Anago 28-21. That was the battle of the unbeatens in the conference, and they have Medford next week. So, you want to look at a trap game. This is the definition of a trap game.
Mm-hmm.
Mosinee, they have a great offense, but they also have the best defense in the conference. So it's going to be a tough one for Lakeland tonight. Looking back at over the last week, cross-country team went over to the GRIAC Invitational. Delaney Fitzpatrick took third in her group. The girls team really suffering through a lot of injuries right now. They really are scrambling to put together a lineup. The boys team ran well over at the GRIAC. They took 18th overall. They're kind of heading into the taper portion of their training now, so we're going to see those times and those times going down a lot. So we'll see how they do now as they head into the final stretch of the season here. Volleyball, they suffered a 3-0 loss to Tomahawk, but anybody that was at the game, it was a very competitive match, at least the first 2 games. That second game, they took Tomahawk into, they led them 24-23 at the end. Thought they had won. There was a referee, referee made a call at the girls under the net. Tomahawk ended up winning that game, and that kind of took the momentum out. So they ended up losing 3-0 there, but played very well. Tennis, they finally got the conference meet finished. It took them, 3 days, 3 rain delays, but in the end, Lakeland brought home a couple of all-conference honors. Megan Addison took second in 3 singles. Jenna Towers took second in 4 singles, and Erin Chasik took third in number 2 singles.
Ray line 1, Ray line 1.
Ray, you got a phone call.
Well, hold that.
The news never stops coming into the editor's office, as you can tell. So.
Along with that, let's go to outdoors.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, so outdoors, take a look at this, the Friday issue today. There's a lead story on a Lakeland freshman, Nick Peterson, who got a call one night from one of his good friends down in Prairie du Chien and needed some help with a high school bass fishing tournament, the Wisconsin State High School Bass Fishing Tournament Championship. So Nick went down there and ended up teaming up with his good friend. They took first place. So it was quite a neat little trip for Nick to get down there and do that, fishing on some water that he hadn't fished before. But they qualified then for the regional championships, which are going to happen next week. So he'll be traveling on Wednesday down to Lake Kincaid down in southern Illinois. So he'll be down there for a little bit and doing that sort of thing. We've got another story on the World Muskie Hunt, which actually happened over on Lake Tomahawk. So the World Muskie Hunt, it's 35th year, still going strong. What they do is they tandem up some people with different guides and send you out in a boat and you fish for a day and they come back and wine and dine you all night, and it's a nice little event. So those are two of the sports stories, or I'm sorry, outdoor stories that we've got going on in our sports and outdoors section. So, well,
Quickly,
kind of hard to ignore what's going on, of course, in the sports world in Wisconsin. So, Ray, you want to touch on what you got in your mind heading into the busy weekend? Packers, Brewers, Badgers.
yeah, I'll just give my predictions. We got Badgers. Boy, that's going to be a dogfight. But I'm going to say Badgers are at home. They got to win. Huge game. 28-24 Badgers. Packers win easily, I think, this week. Packers 36, Denver 17. And the Brewers, Saturday and Sunday they play at home. They got to get at least a split out of that. It'd be nice to see them win too, but I think if they get a split, they'll be in good shape.
Brian?
I think the Brewers have to win both those games. I think that they don't want to go on the road. They don't want to give home field advantage back to the Diamondbacks. I think that's been their Achilles heel all season. So hopefully they can win both those games. The game I'm ready to watch is Wisconsin-Nebraska.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this one, when the schedule came out, everyone circled it that this was going to be the game of the year. They have to go to Columbus yet. They have to welcome in Penn State yet. But this is the game where you don't know who's the better team right now. Those other games, I think Wisconsin should be the favorite no matter what. So it's going to be a great game. Yeah,
I got to say that's definitely the one that everyone's going to be watching on Saturday night. Button up right against the Brewers, though. Everybody in Milwaukee's probably going to be tuned to both of them, I'm sure. But yeah, Brewers got to win. They go on the road. They're just not the same team. Second half they played a lot better, but yeah, Packers will win easy on Sunday. Badgers game, boy, that's a coin toss. You got 20,000 people coming up from Lincoln for that game, so it's going to be a nut house in Madison. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So, well, folks, that wraps up Friday Morning Fodder Week 2. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
8 minutes.
8 minutes was quick, doesn't it?
God, I'll say it.
Well, we'll have to